नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भक्तिरुत्तमा श्लोके भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So reading from the teachings of Queen Kunti, Canto 1st, Chapter 8, text number 23. Please repeat after me. यथा ऋषिकेश खलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धात् चिरं सुचार्पिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपन्गणा. यदा ऋषिकेश खलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धात् चिरं सुचार्पिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपन्गणात्. यदा ऋषिकेश खलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धात् चिरं सुचार्पिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपन्गणात्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila. Translation. O Rishikesha, Master of the senses and Lord of Lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious king Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. Purport. Devaki, the master of Krishna and sister of King Kamsa, was put into prison along with her husband Vasudeva, because the envious king was afraid of being killed by Devaki's eighth son Krishna. He killed all the sons of Devaki who were born before Krishna, but Krishna escaped the danger of child slaughter because he was transferred to the house of Nanda Maharaj and Lord Krishna's foster father. Kunti Devi, along with her children, was also saved from a series of dangers. But Kunti Devi was shown for more favor because Lord Krishna did not save the other children of Devaki, whereas he saved the children of Kunti Devi. This was done because Devaki's husband Vasudeva was living, whereas Kunti Devi was a widow, and there was none to help her except Krishna. The conclusion is that Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who is in great dangers. Sometimes he puts his pure devotees in such dangers because in that condition of helplessness, the devotee becomes more attached to the Lord. The more the attachment is there for the Lord, the more success is there for the devotee. Thus is the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Jalakya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhudale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminidhi Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashad Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So in this series what we are reading Kunti Maharani's prayers. So here Kunti Maharani, she is acknowledging that how Krishna always protected her. So she is saying Yatha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki. She is remembering that how she received more favor of Krishna than the mother of Krishna, Devaki. Yatha Rishikesha. Rishikesha, a word is used here. Rishikesh means Rishika Isha, one who is the master of the senses. So Krishna is the master of the senses, and that Krishna protected Devaki, who was put into danger by Kalena. Kalena means this envious king, Kamsena. So Kamsa, as we know the story, that how on the day of marriage of Devaki and Vasudeva, when they are going, and then this Kamsa was taking them, and he was holding the reins of the chariot, and that is when the celestial voice says that, "O fool Kamsa, you are such a fool that you are you are driving the chariot of the lady whose eighth son will be the cause of your death." And as soon as the Kamsa heard that, immediately he catch hold of the Devaki's hair and about to kill her. And that is when Vasudevji, he intervenes, and then he managed the situation, handled the situations by giving various reasons and arguments. So Kamsa did not kill the Devaki, but then Kamsena Ruddati Chiram Sucharbida. Ruddha means imprisoned. Atichiram. Chiram means the long time. So Kamsa put them, Devaki and Vasudeva, into the prison house. So Kunti Devi here, she is remembering that how Kamsa put Devaki and Vasudeva into the prison. And then finally we know the story that how Krishna came, and after killing Kamsa, he released Devaki and Vasudevji from the imprisonment. So Devaki received the favor, the protection of Krishna. Yatha Rishikesha Kalena Devaki. So Kalena is also important word here to understand that this Kamsa, who was very envious, why there is enmity? As soon as there is little hindrance in one's interest, one's sense gratification, immediately the person becomes furious, he becomes envious, he becomes inimical. So Kamsa, though he was a brother, cousin brother of Devaki, but as soon as there was little, he felt there is a danger, immediately he changed. So this is the nature of this material world. That people are envious here in this material world. They try to create a lot of problems for others. And that is the nature of this material world. As Krishna also confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Dukhalyam Ashashvadam. There is always a danger in this material world. No matter who are you. You might be the mother of the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself. They are also not exempted from the dangers. So expecting that somehow or other there should not be any problem, there should not be any danger in this world, that is not an intelligent idea. We should take the information from the scriptures. That is not possible. This material world is Dukhalyam Ashashvadam. It cannot be free from the problems and the difficulties. That is the nature. So Devaki also was put into the dangers. Right. So then she is remembering Kunti Devi here, that finally Krishna comes, and then Krishna saves the Devaki. And then Kunti Devi here, she is basically comparing the favor that Devaki received versus the favor of Krishna Kunti herself received. So what she is saying, that when Devaki was put into the prison, Kamsena Ruddhati Charam Sucharbida, and Krishna, as the master of the senses, he came and he protected. And then Vimochitaham chas sahatmaja bhivo. We are also protected. Kunti is saying, Vimochitaham. We are also released. Aham. I was also released. Sa atmaja. Not me alone, but along with Sa atmaja, all my sons. So I was also protected and released from series of dangers. Toyevanatena muhur vipad ganat. Not just one danger or one problem, but vipad ganat. There is a series of dangers that we are put into, but every time Krishna, you came, Tvayevanatena, that, oh my dear Lord, oh my Nath, You came and you always protected us. You not only protected me, but you protected my 5 sons also. Where in case of Devki, you did not protect the 6 sons of Devki. They're killed by Kamsa. You know the story. Right? So the Acharyas, Prabhupada writes here in the purport, what is the reason that why Krishna did not protect the 6 sons of Devaki and why Krishna protected the 5 Pandava sons of Kunti? So the reason has been explained here is because Kunti was in a more helpless situation. She was more dependent on Krishna because Kunti's husband was not there. Pandu died in early age. Right? Wherein, in case of Devaki, husband was still there. There is some protection. There is some solace. Some help was there. So that is the explanation given by the Acharyas here. But in Kunti's case, there is no help other than Krishna's help. So Prabhupada explains the one important point that we can learn, that Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who's in a greater danger. So when devotee feels more helpless, there's no other help. The devotee feels that if Krishna doesn't protect, then there's no other protection. There's no other solace for me. There's no other hope for me. So in that kind of helpless situation, in that kind of dependence, the complete surrenderance on Krishna, that catches Krishna's attention faster than the other devotees. Oh yeah, Krishna can protect, but let me also try something. My family is there. Atma sanyasu asassu api. What is that verse? Deha patya kalatradishu atma sanyasu asassu api. So we have our own Atma Sena. Then my body, I'm strong. I have a lot of financial backup. Kalatra Adishu, my family, my spouse, my husband, wife, my kids, my connections. They can also let me just try this way, that way. So Krishna also waits. Okay, you try, no problem. Try. So Krishna is like a very, very sophisticated person. He doesn't unnecessarily interfere or intervene. Says, when you come completely surrender to me, I'll immediately give you the protection. But if you have some hope, some little backup plan that you want to fall back on something, then you try that option. So of course now, just for our understanding, we are discussing this. It's not like that Devaki was little less devotee or she was not dependent on Krishna. She was also a great devotee, as great as that she became the mother of Krishna. But this is the understanding that Acharya is giving here, that who receives more favor of Krishna is the one who is in greater danger, in greater helplessness and feel. Right, one time when Prabhupada was in morning walk, so on a lake, Prabhupada was having some prasadam, and there were some ducks who was there in the water, and then Prabhupada was talking, and then he was throwing some pieces of that food, some prasadam, and a lot of ducks came and they were all eating. And then one duck, she was quacking more. So Prabhupada was giving more food to this particular duck than others. So one disciple asked that, why, Prabhupada, why you are giving more to this particular duck? So Prabhupada says, because she quacks more. So one who quacks more, receive more. So one who asks more, Krishna, I want your help, then Krishna you will receive more favor, more help. Says, yeah, Krishna, I need your help, but if you are busy, then probably I can also figure out. Krishna says, okay, then you only figure out. Right? So one should feel complete helplessness. That Krishna, you are only my. So that should be the prayer. Recently, one devotee who forwarded me one prayer, and that he asked me to include that prayer in our daily prayer. It was the excerpt from one of the purport or one of the lecture of Srila Prabhupada. Small prayer but very powerful. So this prayer says that, let me just read exact word of Prabhupada, what it says. Yeah. It says, my dear Lord, don't kick me away. Accept me in the service of your lotus feet. I have no other shelter than yourself. If you submit to the Lord, That's I have no other shelter than yourself, then he takes at once charge of you. So this is from the purport from Srimad Bhagavatam 7, 9, 12 and 13. It's purport or I think it is lecture. I think it is lecture. So Prabhupada is saying this is how we should pray to the Lord. Then my dear Lord, don't kick me away. Accept me in the service of your lotus feet. I have no other shelter than yourself. So that kind of helpless when we feel, then we receive Krishna's favor. So this is what Devaki is actually, remembering all that, and Prabhupada is giving us the understanding that how the Devaki receives more favor because she was in a helplessness. So, and otherwise, this is the nature of this material world, that we are always constantly in danger because of people are envious here. Akkalena Devaki Kansena Ruddhati Chiram Sucharbeda. So there will be people, you might be very nice, you might try to be wonderful, nice and very helpful to others, but still there will be people, those will be always envious, and they'll try to create some problem, no matter who are you. Even the great devotees like Devaki, Prahlad Maharaj, and then we see the example of Prabhupada. A lot of people, Prabhupada, what he was doing is a selfless soul, selfless, pure devotee, going around and just to help the people. But there are people who are attacking on Prabhupada so many different ways. So this is the nature of material world. Right. So Prabhupada is bringing another point here is sometimes Krishna puts his pure devotees in such dangers because in that condition of helplessness, the devotee becomes more attached to the Lord. So this is also another important point that we should learn. Whenever we face any reversals, any danger, then instead of cursing that person, cursing the Krishna himself, what is this? I'm chanting, I'm great devotee, and so many problems are coming. Possible that sometime Krishna can, arrange those kind of situation that devotee has to go through, so that devotee develop more dependence on Krishna. Otherwise, there is a nature that when there is no problem, they say that, this famous doha, दुख में सिमरन सब करे सुख में करे न कोई जो सुख में सिमरन करे दुख का एक होए. So it's the nature of the conditioned soul. When there is a danger, immediately we remember the Lord, and then otherwise everything is going well, we forget. Then Krishna reminds everything is going well and we are forgetting Krishna. That time he reminds, and don't forget me. And still if we don't remember Krishna, then Krishna will remind in different ways. Right. That is how actually there is a nice this story, this pastime comes, Krishna's pastimes. When Krishna first time when he was a small baby, first time he turned around, and that became a big festival, big celebration. Right, and Devaki, Yashoda Mai, she invited all the people in Vrindavan. Hey, come, my son Krishna, he has turned. That became a big festival. So then everybody was gathered and there a lot of festivities was going on, and everybody was talking, chit-chatting, and a lot of musical instruments, bhajan, kirtans and all that was going on. And Krishna as a small baby boy, he was sleeping, and Yashoda Mai put Krishna on a hand cart. In those days, they used to use these carts where they'll stack some vessels or something like that. And Krishna was put under that cart. And everything was going on, everybody was just celebrating. And then Krishna woke up from the sleep. And then Krishna started looking around, where is my mother? And he started calling mother in his own, way, like a child, crying and seeking the attention. But the noise was so much because a lot of people, they're talking, chit-chatting, they're busy with so many things. Nobody could hear Krishna's voice. Nobody paid attention that, hey, this child has woken up and then I have to go and attend. So then Krishna, what he did, he kicked that cart. We know that story, right? How Krishna kicked that cart. It's a big cart, very heavy for a child to kick. And with that kick, the whole cart was dismantled, dispersed, and a lot of vessels were strapped, everything dispersed, and there's a lot of noise now. And that catches everybody's attention. Hey, what happened? And immediately everybody rushed towards that cart, and Krishna was there. He was completely protected, nothing happened. And then Yashodama immediately comes and grab Krishna. Oh, my boy is okay, nothing happens to him. So there is a very important lesson from this story, that how Krishna is trying to seek the attention. Hey, come here. But we are so much busy in our own noise in this world. The noise of our material desires and worldly things, worldly talks, that we forget, we doesn't pay attention to Krishna. So to seek that attention of the living entity, Krishna kick, and then one little kick comes, and suddenly you say, oh my God, Krishna, please help me, please protect me. So that is how it is. So the Kunti Devi here, she is remembering all that. So sometime when there problems comes in our life, instead of getting too perturbed, too distressed, one should using those problems to criticize others, or to complain, or to doubt on Krishna. Rather, one should take these problems as an opportunity. They are like a springboard, right? From where you can be launched. So when there is a problem comes, there is any clashes, conflicts in the devotee community, between two devotees. So instead of thinking he's a third class and what is this, I don't want to be here with this person. No, instead of taking that in a negative way, one should think this is an opportunity for me to remember Krishna more, to remember some of the instruction of Krishna more. There is some conflict, there is some differences of opinion, something you doesn't get along with someone. Then Krishna says, Tam titikshasva bharata. Learn tolerance. So unless we are put into those situations, we cannot remind ourselves that whether I am tolerant or not. So our tolerance will be tested only on those conflict situations. So whenever there is a problem, some challenge, immediately we can use them as a springboard to become more Krishna conscious, and directly remembering Krishna, going to Krishna, praying to Krishna, or remembering Krishna's instructions in whatever way. So that is the way that we should use that. And then Kunti Maharani is teaching us, she is remembering all of that. So though Muhur Vipad Ganad, there is a series of dangers, but that is facilitating remembrance of Krishna. Kunti Maharani, because of all those problems, she is remembering Krishna. So that is how we can understand. So 2-3 lessons from this particular verse. That one thing is, who receives more favor? One who asks more, one who quacks more will receive more. Right? And then the dangers, the problems are not something that we should curse the dangers or the person who is putting us in danger. Rather, we should take that as a favor and the opportunity for us, like a springboard, to launch ourselves in Krishna consciousness. It facilitates Krishna's remembrance, Krishna's instructions. So these are the lessons that we can learn. And then we'll just, in this connection, this next verse also. And she remembers that Muhur Vipad Ganad. What are the dangers that she is experiencing? She is recalling everything, every single episode of her life. So what she is saying? Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanad Asasabhaya Vanavase Krashrada Mrde Anek Maharada Shrado Droni Astrada Chasma Hare Virakshita. So she is saying, my dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from suffering during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. So she is remembering, look at the life of Kunti, full of dangers. But she is taking this as an opportunity to remember Krishna. She is saying, Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanat, that my dear Lord, Muhur Vipad Ganat, there is a lot of Vipda, the series of dangers came. What are those dangers? Vishan. Vish means the poison. That my son was attempted. He was poisoned. So we know the story that how that Bhima, Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima, because Bhima was very, very powerful. And Duryodhana, from the very early childhood, he always envied. So the enviousness went to the extent he planned that I should kill this Bhima. That is the nature of enviousness. That person becomes so blind by the envious nature that he doesn't even consider that he is my brother or someone. This killing is such a heinous act. So you know, we know the story that how he was poisoned and then how Krishna protected. So he was not only just poisoned, but also after that he was thrown into the water. So foolproof plan. Then in case something happens and then poison doesn't work, he may survive. Then in that case, he should drown down in the water. So he threw, and then he went at the bottom of the water, and then there is some snake came, and he bit this Bhima. And we know that how even the Ayurveda also talks about that one poison is the medicine for another poison. There is a concept like that. So he was poisoned, but by Krishna's arrangement, this snake comes and he bit with the right snake, with the right poison in the right amount, and that actually counter the effect of that poison. And then he was conscious, he was saved. And not only that, by Krishna's arrangement, what happens? That Vasuki, the king of the snake there, he recognized, oh, Bhima. So we should actually welcome this Bhima. And they took to the Nagaloka there down at the bottom. And then they welcomed him. And in the welcome, they offered some special drink, some nectar, which gives a lot of strength. And we know that how Bhima is a voracious eater. And also he was feeling hungry, lying in the water. So not only just one pot, he drank many, many pots of that drink. And because of that, he developed the strength of 10,000 elephants. So his plan was to kill him, but see how that Krishna took that opportunity to give that strength. So she is remembering, and then later when Bhima came and he revealed that was the attempt to kill me. So she is remembering Vishan, Mahagne, and also that another attempt was, that how this Dhritarashtra, he has from the very beginning, he was envious of this Pandavas because Dhritarashtra being the blind from his birth, he could never sit on the throne, and Pandu became the king. And then as the natural descendant of the Pandavas has to be on the throne. So Dhritarashtra always felt that I could not sit on throne, at least my sons, they should be enthroned. But for that, this Pandavas should not be there. So he always planned that how to wipe them off, how to remove them. So he planned. So one of the plan was this Mahagne, that putting them into the fire. So he planned, he constructed a house which was made of some common matter, made of shellac. And he says, I have just built a beautiful house for you, go and enjoy. And his plan was to put the fire and then burn them alive. But how by Krishna's arrangement, Vidura got that sense, and Vidura informed this Pandavan, this is what is the plan. So they were alerted, they went into the house, and before that only, they dug a tunnel under that house. And they escaped, and they themselves put that house on fire. So the Dhritarashtra and all these people, they thought that they burned alive. And they were, showing the tears of the crocodile. All that. Oh, or, our sons, they're like my sons. And all of the drama. Later, he found that they are alive. He was again very sad. So Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanad. And when they were in the forest, so that time, they had to encounter many, cannibals, the demonic forces, demonic people, like Hidimbasur, Bakasur, and like that. They are attacking on them. They are ready to kill them and eat them. But then Bhima already got a lot of strength. So Bhima could handle and then kill all those demons. So he's remembering all that. Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanat Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Grachada. And then another episode, which is Asat Sabhaya. That how, one time, during the Draupadi's Swambar, in those days there was a tradition that a girl from the royal families, they can choose their own husband, but there will be conditions. So for Draupadi's Swambar, the condition was that there was a fish hanging and circling on the ceiling, and then one who can pierce the eye of the fish. not by looking at the fish, but looking in the reflection on the water, and then you have to pierce. That was the condition. And one who can do that, then he will be chosen, and the husband of Draupadi will choose the husband. And Draupadi knew that nobody can do that except Arjuna. She knew. So it was very well planned because she wanted Arjuna to be the husband. But there is another person who also could do that, equally expert. And that person was Karna. Right? So Karna also came into that assembly, that challenge. But then Draupadi thought, what if this Karna does that? I don't want him to be husband. So then she knew the background of Karna, and she said that this, the challenge is meant only for the Kshatriyas, not for the Shudras, those who are come from the background of carpenter or something like that. We know the story, though he was son of Kunti, Karna, but nobody knew that. And then he was born and raised by this carpenter. So this Draupadi, in the whole assembly, she made this comment that it is only meant for the Kshatriyas, not for the Shudras. So this Karna felt so insulted, and then he wanted to take the revenge. So later, after that, during the gambling, right, when they lost, and they lost the Draupadi also in that gamble. And that is when this Karna and Dusashan was the close friend. And Karna says that she insulted me, now today is my day. And to see her naked. So Dusashan, you should help me with that. So that assembly where this heinous attempt to strip Draupadi naked was made, and all the great generals like Bhishma, Drona, and everyone was sitting, including the 5 Pandavas, powerful Pandavas, the 5 husbands of Draupadi. Nobody could come and help Draupadi. So this Kunti, she's remembering all these episodes. See how the Kunti's life is full of dangers. When she was young, and very young age, she lost her husband. Right. Then as a single mother, she has to raise the 5 children. That also, children were attempt to be killed. Like Bhima was poisoned. So that also they survived. And then the daughter-in-law, she is also insulted so severely here. So she is remembering that nobody could help, including her 5 husbands. But then that time, Krishna only came to help. And how Krishna came? Krishna came in the form of sari, unlimited sari. So Krishna, as we know, the Dashavdar. This is also another Avdar. Keshavadrita, Vastra Sharira. No, unlimited sari that Krishna provided. But there are a lot of lessons can be learned from this. That how Draupadi in the beginning, she was going and pleading to different people, Bhishma, Drona, Pandavas and everyone. Nobody could help. And then finally she thought that I had to help myself. And then she was holding on to sari. And she was holding the sari between the teeth. But Dusashan was very powerful, and generally the women are not physically that strong. They're called Abala. They doesn't have that bal, physical strength. Like that. So she couldn't help. And finally, in that helpless situation, see, Krishna did not come till that time. As we are reading in the previous verse also. There has to be complete helplessness, complete surrenderance, complete dependence. And when she realized that none could help, I myself cannot help myself. And that is when this Draupadi, she raised her hands in full surrenderance and dependence. Govinda, Damodara, Madhavati, Krishna, please help. And immediately Krishna came there. And then Krishna protected by supplying unlimited sari. Right, and there is a heaps of sari and he is pulling. And though he was very powerful, he got exhausted and then realized something is, not normal here. Something is transcendental. And that is how she was protected. So Kunti Maharani is remembering that. And Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanad Asas Savaya Vanvasa Krishada. When they are in the forest, there's a lot of dangers. But Krishna all the time, protecting. One time even this Duryodhana's plan was that, somehow Duryodhana convinced Durvasa Muni to go, as a guest to the Pandavas. And that time they were in the forest, they were not having any facilities. And this Durvasa Muni came with 10,000 disciples. Says, we are here for the lunch. Please arrange. Now, any Brahmana comes like that, you cannot say no. It's an offense. It's a duty that you have to receive. So they're thinking what to do now in that situation. And we know that Draupadi has that Akshapatra given by the sun god. The condition of the Dakshapatra is it can supply the unlimited food, provided the condition was unless Draupadi is eaten. The time when Durvasa Muni came, Draupadi already finished her lunch. So next day only she can, take out the unlimited supply. So they were put out there wondering like what to do in that situation. And naturally in a helpless situation, a devotee remembers Krishna. So then they immediately remember Krishna. And then Krishna, mysteriously, he just appeared there. He says, please bring something to eat. They say, no, nothing is there. We already finished everything. And then Krishna instructed that go and find something at least. Maybe something might be sticking to that pot. And then Draupadi goes find, and then one small piece, one grain of something was stuck. She brings and then offer it to Krishna. Krishna ate and Krishna felt so satisfied. Yasmin tushte jagat tushta samsiddhir haridoshnam. So as soon as Krishna felt satisfied, jagat tushta, the whole world got satisfied. So this Durvasa Muni and all, along with his 10,000 disciples, they are taking bath, getting ready. Suddenly in the water only they started feeling so full. They thought, why we are feeling so full? No clue. But they thought we cannot eat. And this Yudhishthir Maharaj and all these people, they might have made a elaborate arrangement. So if we go and we don't eat, it will be insult to them. So rather we should not go only. We should escape from here. So they escaped. So this is how Krishna can protect the devotees. When we feel that there's no hope, there's no other solution, there's no other way, that is when Krishna can find the way to help and take the devotee out from that problem. So she is remembering all of this. Purushada Darshana Dasasavaya Vanavasa Krishyata. And then Mrde Manre Anek Maharatha Shruto. And when in the battlefield, Anek Maharatha, not ordinary people. Prabhupada explains they are different, like in this modern times. In a army we have the lieutenant, captain, something like that. In those days, there are different categories of soldiers, the fighters. They are like Ekrathi, Atirathi, Maharathi. Means there's a different caliber of that fighter. Ekrathi means that one person can fight with one chariot, whosoever. That is his strength. Atirathi means one person can fight with many. And Maharathi means one person is so expert, he can fight with 1,000 chariots alone, single-handedly. So in this battlefield, she is remembering Anek Maharathashrato. Not just one Maharathi, Anek. There's many Maharathas were there, all Bhishma, Drona, so many of them, like expert warriors. In front of them, all these Pandavas, especially that Arjuna, who was an expert archer, he was just like Parikshit Maharaj later. He remembers that how my grandfather, especially the Arjuna, he was like a small fish in front of this big Timingalas. Timingala is the fish which can easily swallow the whale. And my grandfather Arjuna was like a small fish in front of Timingala, how he can survive. But still they came out victorious. It was all because of Krishna's grace. So Kunti Maharani is remembering here, Mrde Anek Maharathashrato, you protected in the battlefield also. Otherwise it is logically not possible. Right? And then finally, everything happened, battle was over, and everything is over. Now what happened at the last moment? Droni astratas chasma hare virakshita. Droni astra. Droni, the son of Drona, Ashwathama. Now he has released the Brahmastra, the womb of Uttara, to kill the last descendant, survival descendant of their dynasty. And that time also we know the story that how Uttara came rushing to Krishna. And she says, and she comes and pleaded to Krishna that please protect me. Right? That, what is that? And there's verse, I'm forgetting that verse. So yeah, she came and then finally Krishna protected. So Kunti Maharani is remembering all the series of dangers. Right? So the important point here is, instead of complaining, cursing ourselves, cursing others, oh my to kismati phooti hai, like that. Instead, she is taking this as an opportunity to remember Krishna. That how Krishna has been, though we've gone through so many dangers, and then Krishna always protected us. And that is the promise of Krishna. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. So Krishna says, my devotee will never perish. Now this is an important lesson. We should not expect that Krishna nowhere says that my devotee will never face any difficulty or any challenges. That is not the promise of Krishna. Promise of Krishna is my devotee will never perish. Meaning, despite all the challenges, all the difficulties, all the problems, you will not perish. You will be protected. And that is what is Krishna's promise. So whenever we go through all the challenges, we should remember that maybe Krishna want to remind me something. Maybe I'm too lost. Krishna is trying to grab my attention. Krishna is that kind of a lover, very possessive lover. Right? He says, if you love me, then me only, nothing else. So no, Krishna, you are also, and then my family and my this thing and my money and my connections and my friends and everyone, and you are also one of them. Krishna, I don't like all this. I want to be exclusive lover. So then Krishna reminds by throwing something. Say, hey, come here. Like that. So we can learn from these great examples given in the scriptures, like Kunti Maharani is such example, that how Kunti Maharani is look back and thanks Krishna. She is looking back what and all happened. Now she is so thankful, so grateful that Krishna, you always protected me, protected us. So look back and thank Krishna. Another example is Prahlad Maharaj. Look ahead and trust Krishna. So Krishna has not yet come, and Prahlad Maharaj, Narasimha did not come. But he always look ahead. Whenever there is a danger, he'll just remember Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And he trusts Krishna that Krishna will protect me. Mare Krishna rakhe ke, rakhe Krishna mare ke. That should be the conviction of a devotee. So look back and thanks Krishna. Kunti is the example. Look ahead and trust Krishna. That is Prahlad Maharaj. Look within and find Krishna. That was Dhruv Maharaj. He was looking within, meditating, and then finally he could see the darshan of the Lord. Right. So though it was an insult for him, but he made it as an opportunity. Look within and find Krishna. And then finally, look around and serve Krishna. Meaning, just be watchful looking around. And there is always an opportunity to serve Krishna. And that example, the best example of that is Prabhupada. Prabhupada was very expert. Any single opportunity, something comes, somebody comes, immediately he'll just look around. Anything he sees, he will always think how it can be utilized in the service of Krishna, how it can be utilized in preaching Krishna consciousness. So like that. So these are some of the lessons that we can derive from these verses. And now a very important verse will come where we'll see that how all this remembering after all, remembering all this series of dangers, how she responds. So we'll learn in the next class, in the next verse, that how a devotee responds to the dangerous situations. What is devotee's desire? How he responds. That we shall learn in the next discussion. We'll pause here. Anybody has any quick question or any comment?